Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and I'm here today to do my November TBR. So first things first, we'll get into the vlogs that I would like to get to. At some point in the month, I will be doing a 24-hour manga readathon, and during that time I plan to read a lot of my mangas. I have quite a bit here for selection. I won't go into what all of them are because I will be posting like that vlog with the TBR in it, but I want to go over a couple of ones that I want to read. So obviously, if you watched my Thrillathon vlog, you'll know that at the end of October, I did have to go into an emergency surgery. So I didn't get to two mangas that I wanted to read for Thrillathon. The first was Jujutsu Kaisen. Basically, this book follows a boy named Yuji Itadori who looks like an average teenager, but he has immense physical strength and every sports club wants him to join, but he would rather hang out with the school occults in the occult research club. One day, the club manages to get their hands on a sealed cursed object and they don't know what they unleash. I've heard really good things about this manga series, and it follows like demon occult vibes, and I definitely think November is still the time to pick up these like demony occult vibey books. So I'm very excited to pick up Jujutsu Kaisen. I really do think I'm going to like it, so that's definitely one that I want to get to. This is volume 1. I also had Chainsaw Man on that TBR, and this is basically about a man named Denji who is willing to do pretty much anything for money. His sad life gets turned upside down when he is betrayed by someone he trusts, and now the power of the devil is inside him and he becomes a whole new man, obviously the Chainsaw Man. This recently came onto my radar. A lot of people have been getting into Chainsaw Man and a lot of people have been praising it, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what this one is about. And then another one just to throw in the mix is The Promised Neverland volume 1. This one I've heard is kind of fucked up, and you wouldn't necessarily think so by the front cover. It basically follows a group of orphans who are under the care of a woman named the Mom, and all the kids have enjoyed a comfortable life. However, one day, two kids named Emma and Norman uncover a dark truth of the outside world they are forbidden from seeing. And I've heard it gets really fucked up. I'm really looking forward to that. So those are 3 volumes of mangas that I will definitely be getting into, along with more bigger volumes here that will be more of my priority, and these will kind of be like sprinkled in one volumes to break up the pace. Another vlog I will be doing this month that I'm really excited for is the return of my Taylor Jenkins reading vlog. I want to kind of do this every time Taylor Jenkins Reid comes out with a new book. So this year, obviously the big book that came out is Carrie Soto is Back. This is not necessarily a sequel, but it definitely follows a character that was in her book last year, Malibu Rising, that I did read, and I will leave a link up above to that vlog where I read Malibu Rising and Taylor Jenkins Reid's first published book, Forever Interrupted. This is the most recent one. It follows Carrie Soto, and from what I understand, she is like a big tennis star, and then something happens where her career winnings are kind of getting passed up, and she decides that she wants to return back to the tennis game and prove that she is still the best. I'm really liking where Taylor Jenkins Reid is going forward with this like historical, every batch of like monumental decades in history and pop culture. Very excited to read this, and that's where the Taylor Jenkins reading vlog thing comes in. I'm going to be reading her second published novel after I do. This was during a time where Taylor Jenkins Reid was definitely doing like romancy, women's lit, a stupid word to basically mean like contemporary fiction that follows women. This is about Lauren and Ryan, whose marriage reaches a breaking point, and so they come up with a plan to break up, I think for a year, 1 year apart, and only one rule: they cannot see each other, and aside from that, anything goes. So they kind of embark on this journey of self-discovery. This definitely goes with the theme of the last vlog I did, where I read Forever Interrupted, which was definitely one of those like romancy women's lit books. I didn't end up liking Forever Interrupted like at all, so I'm a little apprehensive to read after I do, but I'm hoping that I still really will enjoy it, and this is a vlog you can definitely expect from me this month. And then obviously we have the Percy Jackson / Heroes of Olympus book that I will be reading this month, and it is the Mark of Athena. I am super excited about it. If you don't know what this is, me and my friend Haunani are hosting a read-along for what started out with the Percy Jackson series, now moving on into the Heroes of Olympus series. We are on the 3rd installment. So the Percy Jackson series follows a boy named Percy Jackson who discovers that he is a demigod and that his father is Poseidon, and the series moves on from there. The Heroes of Olympus is the 2nd installment of this series and follows basically where the Percy Jackson series leaves off, and Percy and a new gang of demigods are working together to kind of solve the prophecy that is occurring, where the Greek demigods and the Roman demigods kind of come together to help one another and defeat whatever the bad guy of this series is. I have been really enjoying this series. It's definitely much chunkier, but I think Rick Riordan is really expanding his talents in this series, so I'm very excited to see where the Mark of Athena goes. This is Annabeth's book. I've been waiting to read from Annabeth, especially from her perspective, just from like being on the internet and knowing what I know about the Heroes of Olympus series. People really enjoy the Mark of Athena, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this expands and how this grows and how this story takes off from this point. I have 2 arcs also that I would like to get to this month. The first of which I am currently 200 pages into. This is A Dreadful Splendor by B.R. Myers. This is an art copy that was gifted to me by HCC Frenzy, so thank you so much. This book follows a woman named Genevieve Timmons who essentially creates these seances. People pay for her to come in order to get messages from people beyond the dead, but what's really happening is that Genevieve is a swindler in a sense and tries to rob them. After getting caught at her most recent seance, a lawyer strikes up a deal with her where if she decides to perform a seance at this gothic mansion that he will take her to, he will kind of represent her in court so that she won't have to go to jail. Genevieve takes this offer up and kind of goes to this gothic mansion where she meets the fiance of a woman who has recently passed and who she will be performing this seance for. It's definitely more mystery vibes, as most of the characters know that Genevieve is a swindler and therefore they are really trying to solve the mystery of the woman of the mansion's death over her kind of trying to swindle them. It's very engaging. I'm very interested to continue in this book and I will definitely have this finished soon. My goal is to finish this today after recording actually. And then the next arc I would really like to get to this month is an arc where Mistakes Were Made by Meryl Wilsner. This one I'm super excited for. It's basically a romance between a girl and I think her best friend's mom. All I had heard about this book before requesting it on NetGalley was that it was a MILF sapphic romance and I knew that I had to pick it up. It follows a girl named Cassie Klein who goes to an off-campus bar to escape her school's family weekend. Buying a drink for a stranger turns into what should be an uncomplicated, amazing one-night stand. But then the next morning rolls around and her friend drags her along to meet her mom, the hot older woman Cassie slept with. Listen, this sounds like a super fucking good time. I'm definitely gonna read it right after I finish A Dreadful Splendor. So very excited. It sounds really good. Then after that, we do have a bunch of books that are from my 30 Before 30 series. I'm running out of time. It's November. I am trying to crack down on quite a bit of them this month. And I'm not going to get too much into the synopsises of these books. I will leave a link up above to what they are about, especially because we're getting into quite a bit of them today. But the first of which is A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I'm sure a lot of people know what this is about. It tells the story of a girl named Lucy and her father Alexander who comes out of the Bastille prison after 18 years. The Manets find themselves caught up in the lives of a French aristocrat and an English lawyer who compete for the love of Alexandre's daughter, Lucy. The ensuing tale of violence and revenge depicts the plight of peasantry, the brutality of the early revolutionaries, and the menacing shadow of the guillotine. I'm not like 100% excited to read this, but I definitely feel like it's a book that I definitely should have read at this point. I have an English degree. We didn't really focus on Charles Dickens, but I have this on audio to help me and hopefully I enjoy it. I don't know. The next few are books that I'm actually really excited to read. So the first of which is Special Topics of Calamity Physics by Marisha Pessl. I read Marisha Pessl's Night Film, highly recommend. One of my favorite books of all time. It's so good. This one seems to be Marisha Pessl's take on like dark academia, which I'm especially excited to read from, particularly because I love Marisha Pessl's writing. So I definitely think that there could be some interesting quotes in here. And I think her take on dark academia might be really interesting because instead of focusing on like classics and English lit, Shakespeare, stuff like that, she's focusing on like physics and science. And I'm definitely interested to pick this one up. I'm so excited. After that, we have a book that I've been wanting to read for a really long time. This is Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee. It essentially follows a family or the descendants of a family traversing through Korea and Japan. I've heard excellent things about this book. It's won awards and it definitely follows one of my favorite like book structures, which is following like the ancestors and descendants through time of one specific family. This is a book that I've been meaning to get to for a really long time, so I'm really looking forward to it. After that, we have my last fantasy novel on the docket. This is Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I really want to get into this because I do think I will particularly really enjoy this. I've heard phenomenal things about the book, but I don't really know what it's about. A world caught in an eternal war. One young man will become his people's only hope for survival. Game of Thrones meets Gladiator in Evan Winter's The Rage of Dragons, a novel that started as self-publishing sensation and has become one of the most acclaimed epic fantasy debuts of recent years. Oh, that's really exciting. I didn't know that this started off indie published. From what I gather, again, based on like internet knowledge and whatnot, this follows a like group of people where the men are enhanced or their capabilities and powers are enhanced by the women around them. I'm not really sure. I don't know where dragons come in, but I'm very excited to pick this one up. And then the last of which, ignore please these indigo stickers, is The Wanderers by Meg Howry. Something I really, really do love is the trope of space and like people trying to find their way into space. So from what I remember, this book follows the first humans that will be put onto Mars. Helen Kane, Yoshihiro Tanaka, and Sergei Kuznetsov must prove that they're the crew for the historic voyage by spending 17 months in the most realistic simulation ever created. I'm not sure exactly what this follows. I know it's literary fiction, so I'm definitely thinking it's gonna have like topics of like existentialism and is it worth going to Mars, that kind of thing, the advancement of science. I'm really looking forward to this. I then have a book from October that is sliding into November, but I'm basically deciding like I have to read this month. I bought it so long ago, but this is His Hideous Heart, 13 of Edgar Allan Poe's most unsettling tales reimagined. I really enjoy Edgar Allan Poe, so I would really like to read like just short stories of his work. And from what I know of this book, they also have his actual short stories at the end, so you can read both while going through this. I'm really looking forward to this. I might not tackle this as like one book, maybe one week I'll try to do that. But this is definitely one that I need to get to. It's ridiculous that I have not read this yet. And then finally, my big project of the month. This has already been on one TBR and I was unsuccessful in reading it. We have Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the Stormlight Archive, over 1,000 pages, but I've divided them weekly so that it doesn't feel as tackling if I choose not to read it consecutively. But the Stormlight Archive basically follows a world where the entire plane is attacked by these storms, and it follows a group of characters as they kind of navigate this through political means. One girl is a student, there is another person who is one of the foot soldiers, another person who is one of the like knights in this like army. A lot of political upheaval, a lot of things happen in the first book. I did read it last year, so I will definitely leave a link to that vlog up above so you can watch it, and I will be reading this. I won't be vlogging it just because then I'll be going more into spoilers and I'm not sure if that's as engaging to people. I'm very, very nervous, but Brandon Sanderson is one of my favorite authors and he has yet to let me down. So I definitely think I will be enjoying this. And that's it. Those are all of the books I would like to read in the month of November. If you've read any of these books, please let me know what you thought about them. Did you love them? Did you hate them? What am I getting myself into? I have so many books to read. But if you would like to follow me on this journey and see what I'm reading and catch up with me, I do leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. And of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I mention this every time, but it does wonders for my channel and it makes me feel really special and good. But that's it. I don't know how to end these things, so I will see you next time. Okay, bye!